the Culinaraminomancer? How do you pronounce that? So this week, we're starting off by hopping right into some more quests. The first one we're going to complete is Demon Slayer. This quest is pretty easy, with the only dangerous part being the battle against Delruth at the end. You have to use Silverlight, which isn't a super strong weapon, so I'd recommend bringing some melee gear and an offhand weapon. At certain damage thresholds, Delruth will start to perform a powerful attack that'll reduce your health to 1 if not prevented. To deal with this attack, just stand near Gideon and his barrier. And with that complete, we get a few quest points and some combat XP. Next up is Shadow of the Storm. This is another quest where you'll be using Silverlight against the demon. The demon in this one, Egrith Nar, actually doesn't have any mechanics this time around, and is very easy to defeat. And with that one done, we get a whole bunch of combat XP. Before continuing on to my next quest, I took the time to buy some food from the Gnome Stronghold. If you're having trouble finding good sources of food, this can actually be a pretty nice place to go in the early game. Now we're going to start Recipe for Disaster. The Culinaraminomancer? How do you pronounce that? The first part of this quest we'll be completing is the Freeing Evil Dave portion. You'll need to use your cat to catch some hell rats for spices. The easiest way to figure out the right combination for the stew is by figuring it out one color at a time. So start by adding one of one color and give it to Dave. And keep doing this until he likes the amount of spice in it, and note down how many you needed. Once you've done this for each color, make the full stew and give it to Dave so he can confirm it's got the right amount of spices in it. And with this one done, we gain some cooking XP and the ability to make spicy stews for boosting your stats. These stews are actually one of the best ways to get a high boost for any stats that you may need it for. All you need to do is add the appropriate amount of spice to a stew for the kind of boost that you're looking for. To figure out what kind of spice you need, just check the wiki page on spicy stews. Next up, we're going to complete Evil Dave's Big Day Out. This is a really fun and silly quest where you and Evil Dave swap bodies and get up to all kinds of shenanigans. It's a fairly long quest, but it gives you a huge amount of XP once complete. You also gain a buff to how good the spicy stews are, and you're now able to catch hell rats with your hands instead of using a cat. You can also make chipped teleport tablets, which later on will be really nice when doing clue scrolls. Next, we started completing A Tale of Two Cats. We had to wait near the end though, because you have to wait for this potato patch to grow before you can finish the quest. So while waiting for these potatoes to grow, we continued on to some other things. At this time, I took the opportunity to complete my first round of familiarization. This is a weekly D&D where you run around and collect spirit shards as a familiar. I didn't have this unlocked yet, but if you have the Ulook pools unlocked, using the infinite run buff will make completing this D&D much easier. After you've finished a round, you have the choice of receiving some summoning supplies or triple charm drops. I would recommend starting off by collecting the summoning supplies because they're guaranteed to give you a piece of the shaman's outfit each time. After you've collected each of the shaman's outfit pieces, the triple charm drop is definitely the option to pick. Next, I went to complete the Tribal Totem quest and the Perils of Ice Mountain quest to pass some more time for our potatoes to grow. Once those were completed, we could finally finish A Tale of Two Cats, which got us to 150 quest points. Now we were able to grab another quest dice and obtain Vanquish. Even though I couldn't actually use this weapon yet, it's still going to be very nice once I can. Next, we continued on to complete the Freeing Pirate Pete portion of Recipe for Disaster, followed by freeing the Goblin Generals, and then freeing the Mountain Dwarf. After this, we went to complete Wanted. This quest is pretty easy and simple. The only thing I'd recommend is taking off your Ring of Life. This is because there's a part during the quest where you'll be taking a mandatory significant chunk of your health that'll set off your Ring of Life if it's still equipped. Once this quest is complete, we get a nice bit of Slayer XP. Next on our list is the Slug Menace, which is a medium-length quest with nothing too dangerous. Make sure you bring melee gear for the final fight though, because the Slug Prince cannot be damaged by any other styles. And with that done, we gain a bit of crafting, rune crafting, and thieving XP. I'd been thinking about going for our Gothic Staff soon, since we were getting pretty close to 60 magic. To get this staff, you need to go into the deep wilderness, so I asked one of my friends if he'd come protect me when I went to get it.
Yeah, I'll watch out for you. I'll be the lookout.
Awesome. I appreciate that.
Me and my PK clan. I mean, it's me.
At the time, though, it was double XP, so we decided it would probably be best to wait until after DXP to do our trip to the wilderness. The next quest I wanted to complete was Tears of Gothics. This is a really great quest to complete because it unlocks the Tears of Gothics weekly D&D. As an Ironman, this quest actually has a pretty high crafting level requirement of 49. If you're lacking this crafting level, a really great way to train up your crafting is by mining these gem rocks and cutting the gems mined. This is also the main way we'll be leveling our crafting for quite a while, since it's pretty much the best method available. Once we'd completed the quest, we took the opportunity to do our first Tears of Gothics weekly. All you have to do is collect from the blue streams and avoid the green ones. The amount of time you get in here is determined by your quest points, so make sure you're keeping up with your quests. After you run out of time, you'll get a big chunk of XP towards whatever your lowest skill is. Next, I wanted to start working towards unlocking our kingdom. So the next quest to complete was the Fremenic Trials. I needed to level up my fletching, so I spent some time making some arrows. I wanted to take this opportunity to mention a little tip for smithing. When you're making multiple items that don't require you to reheat them, a really nice thing you can do is stack up a bunch of heated items in your inventory. You can do this by right-clicking the anvil after starting your first item and choosing to reopen the smithing interface. From there, you can start another item and have multiple started items in your inventory. Once you've done this, you can just sit back and AFK whatever you're making. Once I finished getting the requirements, it was time to start the Fremenic Trials. This is a fairly long quest to complete. One of the items required is a raw shark, and the easiest way to obtain this, if you can't fish it, is through the temple trekking minigame. You'll also need to battle Koshi the Deathless while unarmed, so I'd recommend having at least half-decent melee stats before you try to fight him. If you have that and you bring along some super potions and prayer potions, it should hardly be a challenge. And if you find you're having a lot of trouble with him, you can also bring along some rings of recoil to increase your damage output. Once we've completed that quest, we gain a whole bunch of XP. During the next day, I decided it was time to start working on our player-owned farm. For the time being, we started with adding rabbits to our farm so we could start working on gaining some beans. I also decided to start completing the Soul Obelisk dailies in Menaphos. Doing these is the fastest way to gain reputation in Menaphos, which will be something you'll need eventually for various quests and bonuses there. You don't really need to worry about this right away, but I decided it was better to just start it early so we could just get it done with. If you want some help trying to find obelisks, the Soul Lobby Friends chat is a great place to look. Next, we continued completing quests towards our kingdom, starting with Merlin's Crystal, then Shield of Arav, and followed by the Lost City. We were going to be completing the Heroes quest next, which to complete solo requires some lockpicks. The easiest way to get some of these is by unlocking the store in the Thieves Guild. To do this, we just needed to complete the Buyers and Sellers quest, followed by the From Tiny Acorns and Lost Her Marbles mini-quests. Once those are done, you can buy a couple of lockpicks from the store. I found that you can't buy very many lockpicks from that store, so if you're planning to do Heroes Quest solo, you may want to spend some time gathering the lockpicks over a couple days. We'll be needing some lockpicks for some other quests too, so it can be a good idea to start stocking up on them now anyways. Now it was time to start completing the Heroes quest. Aside from the requirements for doing this quest, there's nothing too difficult about it. You'll need to battle the Ice Queen under White Wolf Mountain for the ice gloves, but she isn't particularly difficult. I also ended up deciding to complete the section where you would need the lockpicks with a partner because doing it that way doesn't actually require any lockpicks. And with that quest done, we gain a whole bunch of XP. Now we're finally able to complete Throne of Miscellaneous so we can unlock our kingdom. The quest itself mainly just involves you running back and forth between the two kingdoms. And after that's complete, we gain access to managing Miscellaneous. Basically, you just need to put money into the kingdom's coffers, and a certain amount of it will be consumed each day. You also need to perform some tasks around the kingdom every once in a while to keep your approval rating up. I find that mining these rocks here is the quickest and easiest way to do that. Then, every so often, when you need some supplies, you can collect from your kingdom. The main things I like to receive from here are the hardwoods for construction, and the normal wood for bird's nests for seeds, and maple logs for disassembling once we have invention. You can also get some additional workers for your kingdom by completing the Royal Trouble quest, which we'll be doing next. This is another fairly simple quest that only has a small fight at the end. And with that complete, we gain some nice XP and our additional workers for our kingdom. And that's where we're going to end it for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, let me know what you guys think about this episode down in the comments. I also stream all of this account's gameplay over on Twitch, so if you'd like to hang out and follow my progress live, you can find me on Twitch with the same name as my YouTube channel, BreaCheese. And you can find my Twitch schedule down in the video description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.